New shirt. Everybody hear me okay? Is the music much louder than my voice, or is it okay? So I can play the blues with just two fingers. E chord right here. A. I'm playing the guide tones. Those are called guide tones. The guide tones are just the third and the seventh of a chord. Don't need the fifth and don't need the root because the bass player's got it. Oh, my voice sounds echoey. Okay. Maybe partly the music too. Hold on. Bum, bum, bum. Stop. Okay. Got too many windows to manage. From Rick up there, what's wait. Comments are coming in fast. Rick. Sorry, Rick. I don't know that I may Mugu. I may have played that. That's an Irish bouzouki. It's kind of like a bass mandolin, basically. So I did miss Rick's. Oh, if I started to learn today, how many years would it take to get like this? I don't know, Rick. Not that long. It's fairly basic stuff, but it's also like, I mean, because I'm not a blues player, so blues is a great place to start though because it's something fun you can do with others. Everybody knows how to play the blues, kind of. That's why I'm teaching these lessons right now, so that you can be one of those people that like, hey, let's just jam the blues. It gives you something to work on or something to play with others, and like I continue to say, it's the best way to get better faster is to jam with others. Partly because you want to practice because you want to be better the next week than you were the last time you jammed. Or when you jam, you learn something new from somebody, and then you start to put that into practice. Or, to be honest, I'll learn stuff just within an hour of a jam, like from the other guitar players, or I'll be experimenting because that's what we're doing. We're just jamming. There's no pressure. We're not trying to learn songs. Okay, turn off my mic on my computer. I don't know how to do that, Walter. Let's see. Is this any better? If I turn that down, is that better? Or if I get closer to this mic, maybe too. Because I didn't change anything. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, he's in high school now. Yeah, I like the videos you sent, David. David sent me some. We were talking about recitals yesterday, and Walter's messaging me. Here we go. Oh, it's much better. Oh, interesting. Okay, so I'm wondering if that's just the mic, and this is this mic. But I'm wondering, I need to do more tests and then by myself and just listen to them later. Go, okay, now I'm doing this. How does it sound? Yeah, I checked him out. I figured he might be in high school or college by now, so he's in high school. Yeah, so we were talking about recitals yesterday or the day before, And David sent me some videos up on YouTube of his son. So, you know, except this is going to block my guitar. I don't want it to block the guitar too much. Okay, I think we're good. So we're going to continue to work on the blues progression. Again, I want you to, you know, really try to get to a point where you've kept track of yourself and maybe played the chord progression 1,000 times in total. Not 1,000 times in a row. I'm not asking for that. But about, you know, my point being, it's kind of like that 10,000 hours thing, right? My point being, if you've done it 1,000 times, you know, that progression should be really ingrained in your head, so you don't mess up when you're trying to jam with someone and frustrate the person you're jamming with. And then, okay, thanks, Pepper. I'll check it later. And then also, you will have that in your head, so when you're jamming, when you're soloing, you'll be able to anticipate the next chord. And that's part of the reason why I'm telling you to do this, is because I feel like I didn't do that. I went, for years, I would, I can play the blues, and I play with blues, and I wouldn't set up anything. And I'm still not, like I said, I'm not a blues player. But what you want to try to be able to do, and I'm going to have to change when I go to different scenes, check one, oh no, okay, that all stayed down. Okay, good. So, you know, like this blues progression, you want to be able to musically anticipate the A chord and then the E chord stuff. And like I said, I can play by myself, and kind of you can hear these chords go by. Watch, like. Kind of hear the progression. I'm trying to set up the chord changes, but I'm also trying to make it real obvious that I'm playing over an A chord, or over an E chord, or a B chord. So you can even hear the chord progression in the solo without the band track. So Kathy, are you still having migraines? Okay, so let's see. The progression here. Boop, boop, boop. All right. So what I think we should do is we should go ahead and play this progression again a few more times. If you played with me yesterday, we probably did it at least 10 times. And like I said, you can strum 4 strums per bar. Okay, and the way I've written this out, I don't know, I didn't explain it before, but the way the 12-bar blues in E image right there, it's E7 and then 3 more strums of E7, okay? It's not 3 strums of E, it's E7, the E7 is a down strum and then 3 more down strums. That's standard notation. I could have written it above and then done the slashes. The only problem is getting it all to line up is a lot more work than just doing it this way. So again, I'm lazy. Question from David: which pickup or pickups are you using on that guitar? I pretty much always, if I want to sound like Stevie, I'm using the bridge, the neck pickup. But this one sounds good. That would be more like, I would go there. If I want a really glassy sound, I'll go out of phase. Jimi Hendrix would do this. I got to go back to the other screen. Jimi Hendrix would do this. He would actually do all the pickups. Yeah, Dennis, that's a great idea. Another thing you can do too is you can play a chord and then just hit it once, and then okay, you can do that kind of thing too, where you can just kind of play the chord once and then maybe play the pentatonic a little bit, see if you can find a note that sounds good over it, and then go to the next chord, or play the. I would go ahead and continue to play the progression. So what I wouldn't mind doing, I'm going to make these a little smaller. I don't know that we need, I know it's going to get really small if you're on a phone, but should have this down by now. I just don't want to get I want to be, I don't have to be too aware of my guitar neck. I'll put my leg up on the stand. That helps a lot. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna play the jam on this progression a little bit more. But again, if you can't play 4 strums and change fast enough, just hit 1 and let it ring for 4 beats. 3, 4, go to A7, 2, 3, 4, and I have the track. It's set at 80 BPM, 80 beats per minute. That's what BPM stands for. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at the scale, and we're gonna find an E, and we're gonna find an A, and we're gonna find a B. And then we're going to play, so we're going to E, 2, 3, 4, A, 2, 3, 4, E. So we're kind of doing one note solos. 2, 3, 4, and then over the A, we'll play an A note. 2, 3, 4, A, 2, 3, 4, E. 2. Now we're going to need a B, so we can use the open B string, or we could use the one on the 5th string. 2, 3, open A string. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. And so what that does is that kind of teaches you the root of the chord. And it teaches you it helps you to find the root at the time we play the song. So at the time we play the chord in the song. So at the very least, you're connected where the downbeat is and where the root of the chord is on the downbeat. And that's a start. You can build from there. So for example, we go 2, 3, 2, 3, and that's could be a melody for an instrumental blues tune right there, And you can see where we can start to build on that and get a little bit more complex, a little bit more melodic. I mean, I've even done this with jazz students. What I would do is have them play 1, 2, play the root of every note chord, and the next time around go root and 5th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So you're getting all the roots and 5ths, and then I would have them maybe do triads. Maybe mix them up a little bit, and then I would have them do 7ths. And every time around, you would have more to add to it, or you could do the 7. Like I was doing the well, they are tritones, but the guide tones, guide tones, and we're gonna you're gonna take a sip right now. There will be no quiz on this at the end of the week. Guide tones are the 3rd and the 7th of a chord. So for example, on the E7, it's a G sharp and a D. There's no quiz on this, but okay. But with the guide tones, I can imply the chord. Hear that? So I was adding a little bass line to it, but all I was playing was 2 notes. And that is enough to imply. Oh, I said it twice. It better not be a quiz. Anyway, okay. So let's just do this. I'm going to change guitars so we can take another sip. That's another one of the rules. If I change guitars, I'm going to go to my steel string to just play the chords. We're just going to do the chords for now. again, we're building on what we've done, but we're also just want to just revisit and make sure we know it. Okay, to E, A, to E7, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, A7. Can you hear that track? Oh, I forgot. Wait a minute. Walter, I changed the drummer to be really busy. I don't know if Walter's still listening, but that just cracks me up. Okay, remember I changed the drummer to say, hey, you got to listen to the other musicians? That's funny. Okay, I'm going to put him back to being like no fills. I had fills turned all the way up. So it was like, oh man. I got decent sleep last night, so I don't have an excuse. When I have to be back at this window to start it. Okay, here we go. E to A. E. Second line, A7. Ooh, I'm not tuned. B, A to E, B7. I guess technically I was in a tuning. I didn't realize it was an out of tuning. Yeah, Gary, no. B7, A7, and again, okay, if you're having trouble, just get the changes down. Don't worry about hitting four strums. E7, just hit whole notes here. 2, 3, A7. Change early. Be there. If you need to start working your way to A7, do it now so you're there on the downbeat. It's better to be early in the change than to be late. E7 again. B7. Yeah, except for changing guitar. I didn't forget my tuning. Don't make me stop this car. Now, we've done this probably 5 times already. A 1,000 times it might be a lot, but you get my pitch. You get my. It's not that many over a year's time. You can still solo. Doesn't mean you can't be working on everything else while you're logging in your 1,000 blues progressions. Whole notes. You can even do half notes. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, down, A7. And again, get ready to change now. Still not tuned. Hey, Ben. Okay, B7. All right. So now I need to shut this off. Boom. Okay. So just a little bit of work there. You probably got 6 or 7 of your 1,000 done. We probably did 10 or 15 yesterday. So you're probably, and then we did the first couple lessons, you probably already do 100. What am I doing? Adjusting the wrong string. So it would be weird to have a Fender acoustic where all the tuners are on one side. Okay, I'm going to show you a fun thing. So, I can turn save the battery. Why is your name coming in blue color? Oh, Kathy, because Kathy is the administrator. She is helping me to kind of make sure everybody's staying on point. Okay, so Baco Cat, what'd you ask me here? So Tom, make the change ready at the end of the count. On the end of the count? Yeah, you could do that. Or at the end. My point there is that if you are having troubles changing chords, you're at the very beginning. One of the things you don't want to do is be late to the downbeat. So if it means you have to take your E chord off and start making your A chord to stay with the tempo, okay, then that's fine. What'll happen is you'll eventually get faster. I just did a video recently. It's like, I think the last video I did, live stream video. 7 tips to help you change chords faster. I had a hard time coming up with a name. It's such an awful, just awkward name. But here's that. So if you're having trouble changing chords, you can check out this video, and it will help you a little bit. But basically, they gave you some tips on how to change chords faster. You don't want to be late. Here's the thing, because you're accompanying someone, the idea here is that you're playing with somebody else, and you don't want to frustrate them. It's really hard to sing with someone if they stop and then... I mean, I gave the example yesterday, like... Okay, hold on a second. Okay. Hold on. Okay, we've all been there. Okay, but basically making everybody else wait. Yeah, Kathy is our herder. Exactly. Kathy's the cat herder. So we've all been there, and it just takes a time. But it's better to start changing early so that pause, that waiting is happening before the downbeat. Okay, so that's what I mean by that. And let's see. That was the question, I think, from Becca. Yeah. But if you can go to the end of the count. Now, I've got a little story, too, about when I was... guitar players kind of do this thing. I'm changing guitars again, folks. Guitar players do this thing where they do a lot. I mean, I'm guilty of it. Sometimes I get composers saying, don't do that. I have to be aware of it. But when you're getting ready to change chords, you go like and a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 2. You do this right hand thing where you go. And Paul Davids did a video on that saying it was a lazy habit or a bad thing. And I'm not disagreeing, but it's been done for so many decades and is on so many records that it's almost become part of the patterns that everybody plays, okay? But when I was doing this one song in a movie, and it was like, it was in F sharp, which is a lousy key. And I didn't want a capo for some reason because F sharp capo would be really high. Now, nothing sounds wrong about that. That sounds like, well, yeah, of course. But the composer I was working for is like, he's very aware of everything, and especially when it's not been programmed by him. He's aware of it, and he's got perfect pitch. And he goes, why are you playing an E minor 7/11 chord in between every chord? And I went, what? What are you talking about? He goes, I'm hearing an E minor 7 chord. And he plays it for me. He literally plays all 6 strings open on the piano. And he goes, you're playing this chord. I'm like, he's got amazing ears. I'm like, well, maybe for a millisecond I am, but I got to change chords. I'm not a piano. I can't hit a chord, hold the pedal, get my hand ready over the next chord. I can't be in 2 places at the same time or instantly transport to a second place. So there is grace given. And but you definitely want to make that moment, and it's going to be when you're doing that. That's an E minor 7/11 chord in between every chord change. And You might call that lazy. You might call that sloppy. But it is just so idiomatic for the instrument. It's not a bad thing to do. And so it's almost impossible not to do. But, if I've got a song that's like, if I'm going, let's say, say I'm going. It's even there. But I'll try not to. It makes for a very clean sound, especially with key. For that one, it wouldn't be so bad because all these notes would be in the key of G. But if you're in maybe the key of, say, F, it is definitely going to be out of that. But that's where I might capo anyway, so I can have my hands a little bit more in one place at a time. So, okay. Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Rick Beato did mention that. Yeah, I've always said it's not a horrific thing to do. It's just that you can't be in two places at once, and so people expect it. Keep in mind there are basically two chordal accompaniment instruments in music. It's piano or keyboards and guitar. Everybody else just has to be responsible for one note. So bass, violins, trumpets, saxophones, trombones, clarinets, oboes, they're all just playing single notes. So they don't really have to have their hands in two places at once. So that's, yeah. Still not two. Question mark, fingerstyle, what are you talking about? Same thing's true for fingerstyle. Although fingerstyle, you're kind of playing one note at a time, but you can kind of work around some of those tricks. But I'm not going to be doing fingerstyle blues at all. So, there's the culprit. Unlike that composer, I don't have perfect pitch. I think that almost would be a curse. I have several friends with perfect pitch, like Rick Beato's son, and I had a friend that had A440 perfect pitch, and if a piano was not in tune, he would drive him crazy. Okay, so now what I want to do is we're going to do a very simple. I'm going to show you three notes on your guitar. Okay, we're going to do E right here on the second fret of the fourth string. Okay, so we're going to play that when the chord is E in the progression. So, and then when we get to A, we'll play the second fret on the third string, and that's going to be A. Now, we've got a couple choices with B, or a third one that I almost would prefer. I don't mind getting away from this progression. Let me pull it up. This scale. All right. But I'm going to have both of these things there. I don't necessarily need this. Drag that off there. I can still see it. So the minor pentatonic again. Open E, third fret, use your third finger. Open A, second fret, open D, second fret, open G, second fret, open B, third fret, open E, third fret. And then backwards, third fret, open E, third fret, open B, second fret, open G, second fret, open D, second fret, open A, third fret, open E. That's the scale. All right. So the notes we're talking about are that one right there. No, I'm just kidding. Here, second fret, and then on the fourth string, and then second fret on the third string. You can make that an exercise. Ah, hard. Squirrel. And then the B, we could go open B string, okay, or this B down here, which is also at the second fret. So all three of our notes could be on second frets. E, A, E, and B. Let's do it that way for now. And you can use your second finger or your first finger, I don't really care. It's irrelevant, okay? So I'm gonna hit play on the progression and I'm gonna call out notes. In fact, I am gonna quiz you right now. So this is not a sip. So here's the deal. Okay, play, of those three notes I just showed you, play the A. Where's the A? Okay, if you guessed right here, you're right. Okay, second fret of the third string. Okay, play the B. All right, right here. Play the E. Play the B. Play the A. Play the B. Okay, so now you know those three notes. You should know those, okay? All right, I'm taking a sip because I'm thirsty. I ran out of coffee, so I'm... do I own... I think I own stock in Coca-Cola, so... I also own stock in Starbucks. Which hasn't been doing very well, because none of them are open, except the two by my house are open. It's funny. I'm 2 blocks away from 2 open Starbucks. Exactly. Actually, Tom, I thought that was not Steve Martin, but I thought that was Frank Zappa, but I could be wrong. Because Frank Zappa was criticizing critics. Criticizing critics is like criticizing critics. Okay, so I can make this a little bit bigger, but I don't know that we need it. Okay, so again, we're just going to play E on the E chord, A on the A, and I'll call them out so you know them. All right, here we go. E, 2, 3, 4, A, 2, E. Again, hit the E again. A. A again. Give it a wiggle. E. A little vibrato. That's kind of your fingerprint. Your vibrato is your B, A. We're going to go around again, don't worry. E to B. E again. Actually, this is perfect for this because we can get a little bit melodic. Now E again. Okay, B. Oh, sorry. A. I'm reading the notes. Yeah, you gotta pace yourself, Bavar. B. Up to A. And then down E to down to B. Now we can go. So I'm just going to the open. Kind of a melody, right? Look, you're soloing. To B on the second fret of the 5th string. Up to the 3rd string. And then down to the B. Okay, just play the E. Doing there. Okay, we'll just simplify it. Just play an E. Maybe 4. Then back to A, E. So all these notes are on the 2nd fret on adjacent strings. Hey Dave, good to see you. And then back up to E. I'm sorry, A to E. Okay, now I'm going to mess around a little bit so you can kind of hear how this might work. I made it a little bit more interesting, a little more musical, almost in so many ways, very, very like stereotypical blues licks, you know, with the triplet. I mean, I'm really just using really the fifth string, the fourth string, and the third string of that E minor pentatonic over there. Right? Am I pointing at the right thing? I'm assuming you're seeing the same thing I'm seeing right now, but it's just all backwards. I feel like I think somebody just quoted Alice in Wonderland. That's what I feel like right now. I feel like Alice in Wonderland. I need to put on a pretty dress. Rick. So let's see. Yeah, Pepper better be enjoying her time off. Although she told me she was helping someone else to study. So yeah, I was playing some triplets in there. You know, I was playing drag triplets too, I think, or what I call drag triplet, quarter note triplets. So it's like 2, 2, 3, 4. So you're putting 3 notes in the space of 2 beats. So 1, 2, 3, 4, boom. It's hard. Well, if Walter's watching, it's hard. I probably don't ever play quarter note triplets. I'm probably always playing 2 dotted eighths and an eighth note or something like that. You know, I can never probably triplets. I can do triplets over quarter note, da 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 da. But drag triplets or quarter note triplets, you almost have to just kind of lose it. And actually, the way you can think it, if you're having trouble playing drag triplets, you can think of regular triplets, but just skip every other note. Yeah, Kathy, that's what I'm talking about, the triplet thing. So, Peter had a question. So, how are you timing the notes in relation to the chords? The notes that basically all we're doing is, you see the chord progression there, all we're doing is playing an E on the E7 chord, an A on the A7 chord, an E on the E7 chord, and then hitting it again, and then playing an A on the A7 chord, and then the E on the E. So I'm just timing it. We're playing the root, basically. We're almost kind of like being a bass player. We could do this down an octave. A, 2, 3, 4, E. But I wanted to play something more in the meat of the guitar, a little bit more melodic, okay? Now, let's do it again, all right? But instead of playing this B down here, let's play this one here. So we're at the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, slide it up 2 frets, and we'll play this B. So we're going to need it twice. We're at the 4th fret of the 3rd string. We're going to need it at the 9th bar, at the bottom line, the first bar of the bottom line, and the last bar of the bottom line, okay? And the last 2 bars, remember, we call that the turnaround. So hopefully, let's see, who asked me that? Peter. Yes. Okay. So Peter got, okay, so let's do it again, but we're going to change to B. We're going to go here instead of down there. Although I love it. I mean, this guitar, this is a $99 guitar. Sounds so amazing. I mean, I don't know if you can hear this, but it's like, wow. I just love the sound of this thing. And I got another one from Pee Wee. It's a white one. I don't know where it is right now. I must have done something with it. I think I put it in the other room. That one sounds really good too. So I'm keeping it just regular strung. And this has, I paid $99 for this, I think. No more than that. I've never paid more than $100 for any of my Squires. Yeah. I have another Squire that I'm thinking about having the frets taken out and made into a fretless electric guitar. So that's going to be crazy. Yeah, this is not a Squire Bullet. It's just a Squire Strat. It's an Affinity, which is the cheapest ones they make. But this was the guitar I used for. I used it on the Bieber record. They don't know. It's just funny because I just like the lo-fi quality. It sounds it just sounds funky. It sounds like the 70s and the 80s to me for some reason, especially the out of phase. And for the uninitiated, out of phase, originally Strats came with a 3-position pickup, okay? And it's funny because you could, you had this position and you had the middle and then you had this one. But Buddy Holly, of all people, kind of was one of the first to discover and use that if you kind of stopped halfway between the first and middle position, it would have this, it would turn on 2 pickups. And I think, I don't understand, my son would know this. This is the ETA guitar. My son would understand this, but I think the pickups, like, these are wired this way, these are wired this way, and these are wired the opposite way. So now they're out of phase with each other. So it gets this kind of glassy sound. I touched my face. It's one of the rules. If I touch my face, we all have to take a drink. We're trying not to touch our eyes and our mouths and our noses and our ears and all that. And it's like, hey, do I seem tanner? I laid out in the sun yesterday to get some vitamin D. I look tanner. My mom was always dark, very dark. She always tanned really, really good. She always looked really like fit. And my best friend in high school was black, and we went up to Michigan. I brought him up to Michigan one time, and he's like, we had some kids over that we were going out, to the beach and stuff like that. And one of the kids said, my friend was Jerry, and he asked my mom. He said, "Are you Jerry's mom?" Because she was so dark. Pretty funny. So, man, Jerry and I had a blast. We had so much fun in high school. Yay! 71, 70, 77 in New York. Okay. Yeah, we've got 84 today as a high. It was nice. It was 64 when we went out on our walk, which was great. I'm looking like a buff lifeguard, Ben. Yeah, it's just because I'm using the camera, I'm putting, it's like those photos they took in Newport Beach where they put the angle down so it looked like people were standing right next to each other when they were like 12 feet apart. I'm using the camera to kind of create this buff, look, and the guitar. I'm pushing the guitar on my muscle, my one muscle. Yay. Okay, so we're going to use this E, this A, and this B. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, triplets, triplets. So I'm going to hit play, and we're going to jam. Get ready. You got your E ready? See, I don't have a count off here because I don't want to add a bar or else it would jack everything up. It would make it a 13-bar blues, and that's exactly the opposite of what I want you guys to learn. Okay, so get ready with your E's. Here comes 1, 2, 3, E. A. E. E. A. If you want, you can do quarter notes. We can do triplets. I'll help you do triplets. E. Can you hear the beat okay? Okay, now we're going to go up to our new B at the 4th fret. A. Down to E. And then back up to our new B. A newbie, because you're a newbie. E. Okay. I was out of phase. Okay, ready for our new B? You can slide into it. You can slide down to the A if you want. B. Those are quarter note triplets. Drag triplets. I don't know if people call them that. Walter, did you call it that? Are you there? Have you ever heard that term? Okay, going to E, go to the B. Okay, we're gonna go to the old B this time. Okay, when we get to the last chord, E. Now go to this low B. See, that sounds like the turnaround right there, right? Yeah, Dave, woo! Yeah, Google drag triplets and see if it's a thing. So you got that high E string too. Do your tuning E's, right? I mean, you can make 3 notes sing. That's what's so great about the blues. I just love that because it's just like you can kind of now just for just to discourage you a little bit, that doesn't count as your 1,000 times through the blues. I'm just not. Maybe you can count them as a half a time each, so you're not getting as much blues workout as you thought. Okay, now, so I wanted to do that because I wanted to show you when you're soloing that you need to be aware of the chords, and this is one way of doing it. Now that would be a pretty boring solo, obviously, but Jim said something funny. Never heard drag triplets before. Oh, true. Yeah, Jim, you may not want to. True that. Don't Google it. Never mind. Yes, this strat. Yeah, this I like I said, I use it all the time. I've used it on a lot of records. I'm going to use it on a TV show today because it's sitting here. So, and rather than go, in my closet and get one of my other guitars. I use that G&L for a lot of rock stuff. Right there, the kind of orange sunburst one. I actually used the harmony right there the other day for the CCR. I did a CCR for a cartoon, Fortunate Son, a knockoff, and that's the one that's let's see, it's in G, right? That thing. Hopefully I won't get a copyright for it. You know what? They'll probably take it down. I thought I might get one just for hitting that blues progression that I created. Also, I will do this. Let's see, who am I looking for? Dennis or Verdi. How big a file can I upload to the Discord site? Which, by the way, also I'll put a link here if you're new. All of this chatter continues, including submissions for submissions for t-shirt. Bonnie, I saw your t-shirt thing. I love it. It was awesome. I think that would make a good might have to turn that into a diploma. Like go with like a 50 or 30% fade on it and put the diploma over it. We may have to do that when this is all done. Well, I could totally put, you're right. And I've got Dropbox that I've got 2 terabytes or something like that. So I could totally put it in there, David. That's right. Because what I want to do with that is I want to take that blues progression and do with it what I've done. And I could upload it to my YouTube site so I could, because I make money every time you watch or listen to it, which is not a bad idea. I could do that as well. So I may do that so that then you can listen to it on YouTube. But if you want to have an MP3 of it, I'm happy to upload one of those too. And you can also turn YouTube videos into MP3s. They don't like it when you do that, but there's a way to do that. So yeah, you're right. There should probably be a quiz at the end of the week if we're going to have a diploma, Gary. Let's see. I could upload that 10-minute video or the 10 minutes of that blues progression, and you guys have to solo over it for 10 minutes and send me the MP3. Yeah, Mustang. Baco Cat says I need to get that guitar. My first guitar in the '60s was a Fender Mustang. I wish I hadn't sold it. Fenders are so light. Yeah, Fenders are great. I'm kind of a Strat guy. These are lighter than my Strat. They're in some of them are lighter, some of them are heavier. I mean, the wood on this, the neck is actually like it's not one piece of wood. It looks like it's. You could see that. I think it's just like pressed pine or something. I mean, the body probably is. It's not, it's not tone woods by any stretch. And I haven't touched it. This is 100% original. In fact, I think for 3 years I had the same strings on it. And so I part of the thing I like about it is it kind of has a nasty, thin, lo-fi sound, funky. And so I keep, even though I normally use 10s on my electrics or 11s, I kept 9s on this because I just like the thinness of it, the sound of that, okay? All right, so, do I really want my ears to bleed? Yeah, Kathy, no, these are going to be honorary degrees, I think, because I'm way too. That's why I'm not a teacher. That's why I didn't want to do recitals. Too much work. The problem with, from a teacher's perspective for a recital too, is you're not trying to please the kid as much as you're trying to please the parent. And my thing was, like I said, when I was teaching, I would, before the first lesson, I would tell them to make a list of their favorite songs. The bigger the better. I mean, sometimes they would show up with 5 songs, or sometimes I had students show up. I just want to learn this one song, and I'm like, yeah, but it's like 15 years away from where you are right now. But some students would show up with 50 or 100 songs. They would really put together a list, and I could scan that list and I could go, well, you know what? You can learn the chorus to this song. That's actually really doable, and then we can start chipping away, and it gives me a kind of a plan where some students I would have plans for, and some students I would just let them kind of control the plan, but they thought they were controlling it. It's kind of like you guys think, it's like me, I'm sneaking in, I always try to sneak in a little bit of music theory. And so that's kind of how that was always my MO, was you're going to learn this, but at the same time, you're going to probably learn what notes you're playing, or what chord, the tones in this chord, or you're going to learn a new scale or something. And that was always my goal with teaching, was to keep them interested in the instrument by learning songs they want to learn, but at the same time keep them propelling forward as a musician by learning things that musicians need to know. And so that was always my goal. And I've got a few students that are out there that do it full time. They try to, or they have bands and they're releasing records, and nobody famous. I think was Steve Vai one of Joe Satriani's students? I forget. I think there was something where Joe Satriani was a teacher, and he got his initial fame was through like Guitar World magazine or something like that, because he was the teacher of some very successful student. So let's see. The best one, yeah, exactly. Recital, yeah, Baku Cat's gonna get freaked out. Let's see. As long as he doesn't want us to post on Discord, yeah, Bonnie, yeah, no worry. I have the same guitar in a mini. Oh yeah, the mini. I forgot. Yeah, they do make mini ones. I have a mini Strat that actually was made by Dan Irwine, a friend of mine gave me. And it's pretty cool. Basically, I think the goal is to tune it up to A instead of E. Yeah, the high string gauge is 9 on this, low is 42. Standard extra light set. I use Elixir strings just because they last longer with my sweat. Although I did just put on a pair of strings last night. We'll see how they last. Because Elixir doesn't make flat wounds. So I put some flat wounds on my one of my jazz boxes. So last night, let's see. Uh, oh, Dennis would love to play Nemo or Elan from Nightwish. I don't know those. And the thing is, Dennis, I'll probably never look those songs up because by the time we're done here, that comment will be so far up the stream, I will have totally forgotten you've even said it. Yeah, Peter, the theory, that's exactly right. And that's why I always say there's no quiz. I just keep bringing up the theory because eventually you'll start to know. Like I've said the term root so many times now. You probably all know root is the starting note of any chord. So the root of an E chord would be an E. A root of an A chord would be an A. The root of that E7 is E. The root of B7 is B, and so on and so forth. So I think that probably that works to some degree as I'm kind of adding stuff. Let's see. Short scale, less tension. Yeah. Yeah, you can. Yeah, and if the neck is shorter, the tension's looser, and you can increase the gauge of the string or tune up the strings, one of the two. Let's see. Baco Cat says parents tend to put too much pressure on a kid. Sometimes it backfires and the kid gives up interest in the lessons. Yeah, it's funny because when I taught, when I lived in Pasadena, Pasadena is surrounded by very, very rich communities. Pasadena is a very rich community, but the schools are nothing or awful. And so San Marino, Arcadia, La Cañada, and South Pass are all amazing school districts. And that's largely where my students came from. And sometimes they would have better gear than I did. And they could barely play. Their parents would go, "Oh, you want a 59 Les Paul? Okay, how much? $250,000? Okay, here you go." No, it wasn't that bad, but it was pretty funny. I remember I may have a screenshot of it somewhere, but it was fake. But it was a review of a Howard Dumble amp, and Howard Dumble amps are like the gold standard. Like Eric Clapton plays them, and I'm not sorry, Eric Clapton doesn't. Eric Johnson, no, John Mayer plays Dumble, has Dumble amps, and they're very, very hard to find. I don't think Howard makes them anymore. They're, so you can, just a stupid head could cost you $500 or $50,000, something like that. So this kid is like, "Yeah, my parents gave me this Dumble amp for my 16th birthday, and it sounds okay with my 57 Strat, but it doesn't sound very good with my 59 Les Paul. I can kind of almost play the first couple notes of Stairway to Heaven on it, He just writes this review just totally designed to tick off everybody reading it. Of course, everybody knew it was a joke, but it was pretty funny. Okay. Okay. Sorry. My 59 Les Paul. Cheers. Everybody's thirsty. Okay, so I was going to add the blues scale to this, but I think we've gotten enough. I don't know. You want to learn more? Should we go further? Yeah, Steve Vai played with Frank Zappa. I know Steve Vai. He's a freaking amazing musician. And I think if I remember the folklore right, he showed up at, he would show up at Frank Zappa's, gigs or whatever and try to get the gig as guitar player. He was like, and he says, "I can read anything." And so Frank gave him one of his crazy, you can look up the PDF of Black Page. It's insane. And my friend Sheila had to memorize that thing with 70 other songs to play with Dweezil. And Steve sight read this crazy chart that had insane rhythms. They do these crazy I don't even know how to read them. It's just amazing. So, no, we homeschooled, so our kids kind of found what they wanted to do, and we just kind of let them do that. With Alex wanted to do guitar, Jack was really into math and science, and Emma was really into art and drawing and fashion. She got accepted at. That was my Discord making a noise. Let me close that, but I'm going to copy the link. Wait, let me create a new link here. Boom. Invite people. All right. Here's the Discord. Oh, I never did send that other one. It was just sitting there. Okay, there it is. I didn't send it before. There's the invite to the Discord. So there's some papers up there, some PDFs of some work we've done. Yeah, more please. Okay, Hook is saying more. Okay, go more. All right, all right. So this is the blues scale. So the E minor pentatonic was penta means 5. So the notes in the E minor pentatonic were E, G, A, B, D. You can see that right here. Hey, look at that. I pointed at the right spot. So what we're going to do is we're going to add to that a B flat. So you can see on the first fret of the 5th string right there that's a B flat and this is a B flat. Okay, so this scale sounds like this. Oh, sorry. So you can see where that, it's like, it's a wrong note. There is not a B flat in any one of these chords. So over the E7, shoot. over the E7, I can't do this. I'm so lame. Forget it. Oh, okay, question above. I'll check it in a second here. Over the E7, the B flat would be a flat 5. Over the A7, the B flat would be a flat 9. Over the B7, it shouldn't work at all. It would be the major 7th. It's totally wrong. Okay, so oh, can we please have more? Was that the question above? You all wanted more? Okay, so let me just make sure. Sips, pepper, okay. Yeah, so that's what I did, David, basically, is just add the blue note. Okay, thanks, Pepper. Sorry, I'm reading through these comments real quick. Okay, so Peter, you said, hey guys, you gotta bail. Okay, see you later, Peter. Squirrels. All right, everybody's saying goodbye to Peter. All right, so go back to this. All right, so play this with me. Low E, open, 3rd fret on the bottom string, 3rd finger, open A string, 1st fret with the 1st finger on the A string, 2nd fret, 2nd finger, open D string, open, 2nd fret on the D string with the 2nd finger, open G string, 2nd fret, 3rd fret, that's your B flat, there's your blue tone, B, open B string, 3rd fret, open E string, and then 3rd fret. So backwards 3, 0, 3, 0, 3, 2, 0, okay, and then 2, 0. Yes, I can. I can hook, but what the problem with mirroring my screen, and that's how it was before, but I wasn't putting images in here. So if I mirror the screen, I might not realize that you guys can't see my headstock because it would be behind something that I'm not realizing. I can, yeah. So it mirrors my video, but it doesn't flip the JPEGs. And if the JPEGs. If I flip the JPEG, they just flip where they are. The whole image thing may be able to flip, but it's fine. I like actually being able to see everything is written. I don't want to see it backwards. So I just got to get used to it. It's fine. So again, start on top, 3, 3, 0, 3, 0, 3, 2, 0, 2, 0, 2, 2, 1, 0, 3, 0. Oh, I want to show you something fun too. This is not for the newbies, but you can try it. Totally doable. hit the E string. Okay, now bar the top 3 strings at the 7th fret. Top 3 strings, 7th fret. Okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna slide that to the 9th fret and then back down to the 7th. So you're gonna slide to 9th and then go back, just hit the 7th. You don't need to, you could slide it too if you want. But you have to hold down pretty hard to keep the thing ringing. If you hold down loose, if you don't hold down tight enough, it's just gonna die. You've heard that a million times. So that's a fun thing. Now, if you want to do it over the A chord, you could go up to the 12th fret and do the same thing. Or you can also find it here. And so that would be 5. So it would be, you could do, say, boom, 5, C, X, X, 5, 4, 5, X, 2, and then back down. And that would be the A7. That would work over the A7 chord. I'm typing it in here for you, so if that makes any sense. I think I did it right. Yeah. So basically, you just over the A chord. Yeah, you know, I've heard it on Steely Dan records. I've heard it on, let's see, Pink Floyd riff. This thing. Yeah, I've heard it on Steely Dan. I mean, it's just a standard blues thing. And then if you want to do it over B, you can go take the A1 up and just go up 2 frets. Oh, sorry. So that's kind of a fun thing to do. Used to be. Oh, sorry. Okay, so let's play this scale a little bit. Well, let me just use it a little bit over the jam. So here's the jam. There I go. And I'm going to try to stick to this skip. So I mean, the most common time I hear that flat 5 actually is transitioning to the 5 chord, using that B flat as a passing tone from A to B. A, B flat, B. So, okay. So let's see. Where's my tuner? I'll grab this one. Tuners everywhere, and nary a drop to drink. All right. So you've got a new scale to practice. we're gonna try to memorize it. Okay. Now, I should have created one, but if you just take those zeros, you can play this. If you move everything up one fret, the zeros would be then all ones. See, so like if you do this in F, it would be. So let's go to the 5th fret. Okay. And play 5th fret. I'll just call out the fret numbers, and so 5, 8, and then 5, 6, 7, and then 5, 7, and then 5, 7, 8, and then 5, 8, and 5, 8. And backwards would be 8, 5, 8, 5, 8, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 6, 5. 8, 5. Okay, and that is basically that E blues scale transposed or key changed. Not a word, but transposed is a word. So I'm transposing it up to A. Now, would I use the A blues over the A7? Yes, I might. Could. But there's plenty of notes within the E minor pentatonic and the E blues that work over the A. The only thing we don't have is the C natural. We're gonna do something about that, I think, tomorrow. Okay, we're gonna have another exercise that we can do. Excuse me. But let me show you what that might sound like. It's part of me. I don't like doing it. Well, let me just say this. One of the things I don't like is I don't want to see a guitar player when the chord changes. Then you just go to that chord and play a scale right on top of that chord, and then the next chord. It's like I'm not trying to teach you scales. I'm trying to teach you to play music. And so what we're doing here is we're using the scale to give us our boundaries. It's like playing basketball or tennis. You've got these out of bounds marks, and if you're out there, okay, things aren't going to sound as good. So we got our boundaries, but we're not going to stick to them. In fact, a note that should have been a bad note was the B flat we just added to get the E blues. Another common tone is the passing tone going from D to E. So we got this O. We could also do that. We could go D, D sharp, and E. And that's the 4th string open 1, 2. Like that. And that would work too. So we could almost get to the point where we could justify every note on the fretboard, but we want to do it musically. So let's see. Anybody, any questions? I think we're good, looking good. Whatever. No. I'm taking a drink because I'm thirsty. So let me show you what that might sound like if I were to go back and forth. And I'll even take this up to the 7th fret for the B and play the B blues scale. Not wrong, but to me it just sounds like you're following the chord and you're not really thinking musically, you're just thinking scales. See, it's just, to me, that doesn't work. I mean, I know I'm not trying to play good, so I'm cheating a little bit. I'm trying to make it sound bad. It's like, intentionally sent it. But yeah, and we haven't even talked about turnarounds, Tom. Turnarounds are one of those things where it is a kind of an example of a lick you probably could memorize a bunch of them, and that way you have them ready to go. We haven't learned any, but what we're doing is we're trying to create melodies, and by creating melodies, you might naturally create a turnaround. And a turnaround is a way to get you from the E on the bottom line to the back to the E at the top. So something like, say we're on the bottom line of the E 12 bar blues right there. See, up there. B7, this moment here, 2, 3, this thing. That's a turnaround. So you might do that, you might go. Or you might. You could have a million different things could be a turnaround. It doesn't necessarily, shoot. I painted myself into a corner. And so, like I said, there's a million YouTube videos on blues turnarounds, and you can probably just find a bunch in E and have fun with them. Like I said, I think my friend RJ does a bunch of those. Let's see. And so when I was playing when I was just moving my hand around, here's A and then B and then back to E and then it just sounded like that. Like musically, it was like we're singing. We're doing this, like we're in this growly, we're getting all nasty here in E, and all of a sudden we're up here. We're all up high, and then we go back down. Someone's gonna make a GIF out of that. So that the idea there is that if you kind of force yourself to be in one position, then you have to find melodies there that work over the chord changes. 100%, 100 times more valuable than just knowing the right scale for the right moment, for the right chord. That's being able to play scales and know scales. That's not a bad thing, but just calling it soloing and improvising just because you played the right scale at the right time, there's no correlation there. If you're going to do a solo, and I'm not a big fan of solos in general. I mean, in blues, you can't avoid it. In jazz, it's a natural thing. But I'm talking about in like even in rock songs or particularly in pop songs. I mean, I joke about that session I did. I remember when I got called to do that session where I was Justin Bieber and Taylor Swift wrote a song and they wanted me to come in and replace Taylor Swift's guitars. And she'd written a very I wish I could even play that, but it was a 3-chord progression. And she wrote, they wrote the whole song over just the same 3 chords, which sounds boring, but really what happens in pop so often, it's the same, 4 chords, if that, over and over again. And I gotta close my, I'm gonna close my Discord. And so, so there's a lot of pressure on the melody. The melody is where all the pressure, whoever's writing the melody has to come up with really good melody ideas. One of my favorite songs is, you can check it out, it's called, let's see, by Neo. Is it called Mad? Let me look it up. I don't want to play it, but I can send you a link. Neo, it's basically the same song, the same chords over and over and over again. He's a really good songwriter, really good pop R&B songwriter. Neo, yeah, it's called Mad. Okay, I'm gonna stop, share, copy. All right, I'm gonna close. So here's the song. You can check it out later. Okay, maybe open a new window or something. But he literally comes up with 6 different melodies in this song, which is it's an interesting song because it's actually about basically a Bible verse about don't let the sun go down on your anger. If you're angry with your significant other, don't go to bed angry. Work it out. But um, so the sorry. So every one of the melodies he writes, there's 5 melodies. So there's a verse, and then there's actually 6 melodies. There's a verse, then he changes it up for the second half of the verse. Then he has a pre-chorus, a chorus, and a post-chorus. Like if you think about "Umbrella" by Rihanna, where she's singing Ella, 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 hey, hey, hey. That's a post-chorus hook. So she's already sung the chorus, and now she's doing this post-chorus hook, and that's what everybody was singing. I mean, it was like the kids are going down the halls of the classroom going, Ella, 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 hey, hey. In fact, Tricky Stewart, who was one of the writers on that with my friend Kook, he named his daughter Ella, so her name is Ella. But so anyway, my point being, Taylor Swift wrote a really, really good melody over this very, very simple chord progression. But they want me to come in and replay it to just kind of make it a little bit more special rather than just banging out some simple chords. So I kind of came in and did my thing to it. Really, actually, I thought it was a really cool idea, and it worked, and we did it, and basically made a loop out of that. Not made a loop. I think I played the whole song, and then I've told this story before. I actually wrote a bridge because it was like, well, maybe we need some new chords for the bridge. So I wrote a bridge, and my friend Kook, who was producing them, he goes, that's great, oh, I love it. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this was like at the very beginning. I'm like, oh my gosh, did I just write a song with Taylor Swift and Justin Bieber? This is gonna be insane. And then Kook calls me the next day and is like, Tom, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, again, as I always say, whatever you tell me I'm doing, that's what I'm doing. He goes, can you come back into the studio? I'm like, of course. He said, well, they loved what you did on the bridge, but they want it back the way it was. I'm like, oh shoot, there goes my writer's credit. And so and he said, bring your electric guitar, because I had played this all on acoustic. He goes, bring your rig, so that we can put a solo on. I said, a solo on a pop song, really? Was this 1982? It's not Beat It. And Coop got mad. He goes, okay, fine. I was going to make it 8 bars, but now I'm going to make it 16 bars. So that was, I went back in, and that was the day I met Justin, that he showed up with his mom and his grandparents, his mom's parents, and his bodyguard at the time, Moshe. And then, so I did the tracks, and Justin's watching me, and so, and I did this solo, and, or it was time to do the solo, and I've said this before, but what are the tricks when you're doing a guitar solo? Yeah, a clean T-shirt, woohoo! One of the tricks, when some of the tricks you can have when you're doing a solo is you want to build up intensity. You want to build up intensity, right? You want it to escalate, and in some way, shape, or form. And so you've got volume. It could get soft and louder. It could start low pitch, go to high pitch. You could start slow and go to fast stuff or whatever. So you got different tricks to kind of build a solo and have it climax at the right moment. And so Kook immediately says, I want you to start on this note. And he sings this like high B, and I'm like, that's like the highest note on my guitar. That's like, it gives me nowhere to go from there. And I got 16 bars. So it was hilarious. But what happened was, it was a very cool thing. I'll never forget it. But it was basically me, Kook, and Justin together. And Justin was like 15 or 16. I think he was 15 at the time. He looks like he's 11 in the pictures. But it was, we wrote this solo together, and it turned out to be a really cool solo. And of course, the song never got released. No one's heard it except just those of us that were working on it that day, and maybe a couple other people. Never got released. It probably would have been a giant smash. It probably would have opened a lot of doors a lot sooner. But that's just the business. And most of records that get made don't get released. That's not true with movies, because it's so expensive to make a movie. They pretty much will release it in some way, shape, or form. But so many records end up just sitting on a shelf because they're not happy with it, or they don't. I've got a cat. Did you see my cat? Yeah, I've got a cat, but she's not in here. Did you? But my point about soloing is, I when it comes to soloing on a record or something like that, I really shy away from it. It's like if you need more time for the lyric. You need to develop the song lyrically and musically, and if the solo doesn't help that, if the solo is just a place marker, or we should put a solo in this song, or we got Tom playing guitar, we should give a solo. It's like, boy, that's actually a lot of pressure, because there's really you're not. It's very difficult to, especially if you're not a songwriter, which I am a songwriter too. But if you're not a songwriter as a guitar player, I think it really makes it more difficult to kind of see the big picture on a song and go, okay, I want this solo to propel the song forward. Now, there are guys that do great solos. I mean, I think of Larry Carlton is some of my favorites. Steve Lukather was always one of my favorite soloists. I mean, I think about his guitar solo on Talk to You Later. It's a great solo, And that's a good example of one that ends on a high note for the most part. In fact, I talked to him about that. I told him that I love that solo, and he goes, yeah, I wanted to redo it, but that was the first take. I said I was sharp on that last note, but they wouldn't let me replay it. So I was like, dang it. I know, and today you could auto-tune it, but back then they really couldn't do that. So, let's see. We're talking food here. Food and cats. So anyway, that's kind of my story, Diane, but I think you've probably heard that. We have a 75% Maine Coon, like raccoon. It looks like a raccoon. I don't know why are we talking about cats? Did the cat show up? Our cat doesn't have a name. Did you know that? She knows a few words. She knows food. She knows milk. Let's see, what is the other word? She knows toy. If I say toy, you want to play with the toy, she immediately will look up where the toys are. And then if we are having a conversation and we happen to say the word kitty in the conversation, she won't turn around, but her ears will turn around. I love that cats can do that. Cats' ears, they're like little radar dishes. They can just turn. We never named our cat. No, never named our cat. It's like a boat, right? She was a stray, and she was not only a stray, and that makes sense that Tom Strahle would have a stray cat, huh? But the reason we didn't was she was a stray cat, and she was a feral cat. So like if you couldn't pick her up, she would claw you to shreds. But she started hanging around the building, and I didn't know she was hanging around the building in Pasadena because she was pregnant. We couldn't tell. And she was very skinny, so you really never would have thought that. And so the kids wanted to start feeding her something, so we would put Sip. No, I know. You're not supposed to change the name of your boat, and because the cat was stray, I didn't know if I had a name. But that's not why we didn't name the cat. We just call her Kitty or Mama Kitty or Cat or Brat or whatever. She seems to know she's being referred to. So we managed the apartment building, right? We lived in that apartment building for almost 32 years, 31 and a half years. And we managed it for 25 of those years. It allowed us to save up money for the house. And so one of the rules in the building is no animals, no pets, no cats, no dogs. People would have birds and gerbils, but you're not even supposed to have those. So no pet rule in the building. And but we loved cats, and we'd had a cat before on the DL, and we managed to get around it. But this time, this cat starts showing up years later, and the kids want to start feeding it. So we start, putting a bowl out, and the cat would eat. But if you made a move towards her, she would run away. If you even looked at her, she would run away. And so we slowly got the cat to get closer and closer to the apartment. So every day we would bring the bowl a little bit closer to the front door, and then we'd open the front door and leave it open, and slowly she would actually come into the apartment, and the kids would sit perfectly still, and if they made a move at all, she'd run, right? So And we did this, and we kept bringing her further in, and we got her a good, I don't know, 20 feet into the apartment one time. And I went out one of the doors and came around from the outside and closed the door from the outside. And she freaked. And she ran at Jack, who was sitting in the chair by the door, ran at him, clawed up him, and clawed all the way up the curtains to the top of the curtains. And like, oh my gosh, she was like freaked out. And we're like, oh, sorry. So we opened the door and she ran out. And then we kind of had to start over again to build a trust. Well, we never really quite got to that point where we had her trust. And one day when she did show up, we were like, where is she? But we had our door open quite a bit. And Emma comes in and says, hey, Mom, would you come? She she was in Emma's closet having babies. So she had just two kittens, fortunately. And somebody took both of them, raised both of them. But so she, at that point, she was pretty close to being domesticated because out of necessity. She found a warm place. But the reason we didn't name her is I felt like if we named her, she'd be a pet. And we weren't allowed to have pets. So if we didn't name her, she's just some random stray cat that came to live in our house. And she still went in and out. She was like 6 dinner Sid. I mean, I think she got really, really fat. She ended up going to everybody's apartment in the building, and everybody was feeding her. And in buildings next door, I saw her across the street at a building. I saw her next door, north of us and south of us at buildings. I mean, she just got around. And so she's in the house now. It took her a minute to get settled, but I think she really likes it. So, but we didn't name it because and then somebody said, why didn't you name the cat? Well, I said, well, we didn't name her because it's a loophole. I said, oh, we should call her Loophole. And then I went, no, damn it. Now she's got a name. Now we got to get rid of her. So we didn't name her because we didn't want to get rid of her. High school had a band named Stray Cat. Yeah, exactly. Stray Cats. I love Stray Cats. They were great. That was one of those things that was like, man, he's a good guitar player. And his solos always made a lot of sense musically, but they worked musically too. They weren't just like, oh, theoretically, this makes sense that he would go to this note at this moment and so on and so forth. They actually did propel the story forward of the song. And in rockabilly, you would always have guitar solos anyway, so that wasn't unusual. Okay, so there's my story. I'm sticking to it. Wow, you had a cat. Bonnie had a cat that had babies in a sleeping bag. That's crazy. What instrument? Beside the door. Up high or down low? Down low that's a Harmony Bobcat, 1964, 65 Harmony Bobcat. And I bought it because I got a good deal on it, and it has these DeArmond foil pickups, and I didn't have any guitars that had foil pickups. I can grab it. It sounds great. I'll plug it in. Changing guitars so everybody can take a sip. It's been a while. Sorry about that. We've got some people that are dehydrated out there. They're going to blame me. It's a little bit on the noisy side, but it's got 3 pickup settings. Yeah, I used it for the... Fortunate Son. I have one of my composers I work for really likes this guitar a lot, so I keep it out because he likes it on melodies. It's got that, kind of cheesy fake sunburst kind of vibe going on. You take a spray paint and just kind of go around the edge and go, okay, that's a sunburst. So yeah, wood bridge, not really adjustable. The intonation's not great on it, but if I'm playing something high, like for this composer, oftentimes I'll be playing like a melody that's up here or something. I can just tune right here so that all these notes will be in tune. So yeah, and it's hard to hear. I've got so much gain on the the amp setting right now that you really can't hear these pickups. Usually what I use for this for is a cleaner sound with some compression and a lot of reverb. But it does definitely have a lo-fi sound to it. It's also basically would be a poor man's guitar. I think these were about $70 in the 60s, which would have been a lot of money. And it's, you know, Harmony, and it's called a Bobcat. Does it say Bobcat anywhere on here? It's got a 3-bolt, which is kind of cool, you know, the way they have the neck on there. And then you could get them with a whammy bar, but that was an extra pay. So, and it's got basically a volume and a volume for each pickup and a tone for each pickup. So when you can kind of dial it in a little bit. I never do too much. I pretty much leave everything wide open and do most of the tone adjustment in the amp. That way I can save it. I mean, I do have a trick that I do with my. I do like using a tone knob sometimes, but it's usually an on-off thing, not partial. Take a sip, everyone. Okay. So tomorrow we're going to continue on this. We're going to continue working the E blues, and then we are going to we're going to accommodate the chords a little bit more, and we're going to learn some things. We're going to learn what like Stevie Ray Vaughan would do sometimes, and what B.B. King would do sometimes, and so that will help us with this. And then I think, or we may just work on the E blues thing one more day, and then go to that. I'm not sure what I'm going to teach after this, so I probably should kind of put together some turnarounds so we have some turnarounds. But I really don't want to put too much pressure on it. See, the problem with having a bunch of turnarounds in your back pocket is that you're gonna be like kind of forcing them, you know. And I feel like that happens a lot with turnarounds. Like, oh, I got to get the turnaround in. So you've got to make sure you pay attention. And so we go B, A. Okay, here's the turnaround, and then you jump into it. And so whatever you were doing over the B and A, you don't really finish that thought. And I never liked forcing the turnaround. But I'm not a blues guitar player. So, all right, so I'm taking off. Okay, Ben has to fly somewhere, hopefully somewhere fun. Pop. And I will talk to you soon. Kathy, I'll see you on Discord in a minute if you're going to be around. Okay? All right. I will talk to you soon. See you tomorrow. God bless you guys. Bye-bye.